welcome back. I'm Nathalie Michelle. If you're new to my channel, please give this video a thumbs up and check out my other videos on my channel, and don't forget to subscribe. But today we'll be going over bias tape. So the bias of your fabric is a 45-degree angle from your selvage. So the easiest way to find that is to look at your grain and your cross grain. Your grain is going to be parallel to your selvage of your fabric, and your cross grain is going to be perpendicular from the selvage of your fabric. If you don't know what the selvage is the self-formed end of the fabric. So when they are weaving it on a loom or in a machine, the ends of the fabric that are finished by that machine is the selvage, and it's really easy to tell the selvage on your fabric because it's gonna be the part that the people don't cut when you go to the fabric store. So the easiest way to find these bias of your fabric is to, again, lay out your fabric flat, and you're gonna take the corner over by either side of the selvage. So if you lay your fabric out perfectly flat, just grab one of the corners where the selvage is, and you're going to pull it straight up so that it lays completely flat along the other side of the fabric. This will show you the 45-degree angle of your fabric that is the bias. With this, you can make bias tape, and you might be wondering, why would I ever need bias tape? Well, bias tape comes in very handy because the bias of your fabric is the stretchiest part of your fabric, and it can be used to sew around curves or sew around more sharp areas of a garment, which comes in handy because if you were to cut your fabric right on the grain or the cross grain, depending on if your fabric is a knit or a woven, you might not have enough stretch in that fabric to actually conform it around that curve. So that is why we use the bias, and it is helpful whenever I make circle skirts. I always cut my waistband, and depending on how I'm hemming the skirt, my favorite way to hem the skirt of a circle skirt is using bias tape. It is simple, it is easy, and very stress-free. So I love using bias tape, and I really recommend it for many different things. Whether you're using it for home decor, again, using it for clothing like I do, or any other reason you would need bias tape, it is a very helpful tool to know what the bias is and how to make bias tape. I'll show you how to connect bias tape so you have a continuous strands. On here, the X is marked by the right side of the fabric. Make sure they are angled like you see here, and then you're going to want to hang them over the edge a little bit, so when you turn them over, it creates a continuous strand that doesn't have one side hanging over the other. With that being said, you do want to be careful on what you do cut the bias tape out of. So if you are already using a knit fabric, I don't actually recommend using the bias of the fabric because, one, your fabric's already stretchy. Now if you have like a very tight knit fabric that isn't super stretchy, you might want to use the bias. But if you have a super stretchy garment or fabric, I do not recommend using the bias because you're just gonna have a very hard fabric to work with, and it's gonna be probably way too stretchy and end up stretching out too much that you can't even use it. So usually you only use the bias for woven fabrics. Now of course there are circumstances where you would use the bias on a knit fabric or for a knit garment. Like if you're using a knit to make a body formed dress, you would probably cut it on the bias so it would kind of curve around you a little bit better and you don't need as many panels of fabric. But for wovens, I really do recommend cutting out biases, especially if you are going to be sewing around a curve. Now they do actually make bias tape makers, so when you do cut your tape out of the bias of your fabric, you can get these little like ironing makers where you like slip your fabric in through the opening and you pull it out, and it folds it down for you real pretty so you can just press it. I don't have one of those, so I just do it by hand. I mark the center of my bias tape and I fold it to the center, iron it, and then I fold it in half and iron it whatever way you want to do it. If you want to simplify your life, I would suggest getting a bias tape maker. I don't have one. I really honestly probably should get one, but I have not at this point in time. So I do it the difficult way. So that is all I have for you guys this week. It's a super short, simple, very important video though. It is very important to know what the bias is and how to use it. And I am sorry for the background noise if you can hear it. I am on the 3rd floor of my building and I can hear all the traffic right outside my window. So if you ever hear loud engines just roaring, that is the people in Miami that want to let you know they are going down the street. So thank you again for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos on my channel. Give this video a thumbs up. All the things, so many things to do. And I will see you guys all in my next video. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Oh, and next week, I'm so excited, is my Halloween video. I was Doctor Strange this year, so I made like a short video. It's gonna be a super fun video for you guys to watch. Really, it's just me complaining about why I chose to make my Halloween costume in 2 days. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you all next week. Bye.